Welcome to the Illegal Immigration Topics channel. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, over 100 border breakers were caught at this particular Denver nightclub. Unfortunately, as well, it included numbers of service personnel. And see, the thing about it is, there is a definite pro border breaking or pro open border breaking illegal immigrant nationist agenda going on. And there are certain numbers of however political numbers of personnel and however numbers of pro open borders entities, etc., that want a open borders left and right. Because also there are numbers of families who know they are that have illegal immigrant numbers of personnel, the one that's obliged to that want more of them. It's a demographics uproar that they want. It's a demographical onslaught of illegal immigrants that is wanted. So let me go ahead and play this first video. Make sure that's correct. Okay, give me a moment here. All right, I think that's right. Let me make sure here. Okay.
A major DEA operation at an underground nightclub in Colorado Springs leads to the arrest of more than 100 people who federal officials say entered the U.S. illegally. Officials say drug trafficking and prostitution were happening inside that club. Video from the DEA posted to their X page shows the moment when officers arrive and people from the club start to panic and flee. Fox 31's Aaliyah Sims has more on this story tonight. Aaliyah?
Yeah, Kim, this has been a long-term investigation by the Drug Enforcement Administration and a number of federal partners. Now, federal officials did undercover work and they conducted surveillance for months to identify what was going on here.
More than 300 law enforcement officers assisted in the operation led by the DEA Rocky Mountains Field Division.
We seized quite a number of guns and took a number of people into custody. The result of this operation is that Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer community today.
DEA Rocky Mountain Field Division Special Agent in Charge Jonathan Pullen says significant drug trafficking, prostitution, and crimes of violence were happening inside the nightclub located near Airport Road and South Academy Boulevard. Officials made entry just before 4 this morning. ICE, one of the agencies a part of that operation, taking dozens of people into custody.
So as you may suspect, when the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor. And we did find cocaine. It looks like some pink cocaine or the 2C at the door. Most of the drugs hit the floor. You may suspect when the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor. And we did find cocaine. It looks like some pink cocaine or the 2C. We had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well. And those, we had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well. And those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE.
Pullen says more than a dozen active service members were in the club during the operation, and they were involved in some of the crimes. The operation, and the service members were in.
Illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE.
Pullen says more than a dozen active service members were in the club during the operation, and they were involved in some of the crimes, either as patrons or working as armed security.
Yeah, it's obviously concerning to have active duty military involved. We're working with our partners at Army CID on that piece. Obviously, where we are here in the Springs, there's a lot of military bases here, so it's not necessarily surprising, but we're going to take that very seriously.
Federal officials say the nightclub was frequented by Trinidad Aragua, MS-13, and Hells Angels, but they could not confirm if any members were involved in the arrest.
The message is we're not going to stand for this criminality in our city.
And earlier this year, the DEA raided what they called a makeshift nightclub in Adams County. At that time, more than 40 people who they say were in the country illegally were arrested.
But you're going to have personnel that do this when you try to relay over reality information. This is what they do.
Sorry, Kevin Bacon wasn't in Footloose. What? Of course he was. No, he wasn't. You lose. Of course he was. He was the star. No, you're wrong. Look it up. I don't have to look it up. It's common knowledge. He was on the cover of People magazine when the movie. Everyone knows Kevin Bacon was the star of Footloose. It was a huge movie. He was the lead. No.
Oh, they don't like that truth. And as the person, the enforcement personnel said, you heard, I mean, there's, numbers of people from the service areas, right? So the big area and stuff like that. And numbers of service personnel has been relayed something about, I guess some of them are allowed to work. No big thing. Let's, I guess, it's make sure it's done through the command, unless they were doing it illegally themselves. Well, that's on them and how the service personnel to take care of that. The thing about it is how many other people were in that club. Someone was trying to enjoy themselves, right? But the problem is that how many of those people from the service part and were there some that also knowingly knew that there were border breaker illegal immigrant personnel in there? So it's a catch-22 in that situation on that, because how many would have the loyalty to numbers of border breakers first, right? How many? See, that's also the question as well. And the thing about it is, for that many, over 100 is a lot of border breakers to be in that club, right? And then you heard the last part at another particular place was 40 some people of border breakers that were sought out there, whatever situation that happened. So there's definitely an agenda on this situation. And there definitely cannot be enough conversations about the showing of this agenda that is going on. I thank you for tuning in to the illegal immigration topic channel.